in that one. So, welcome everybody. Tonight we're going to go over the assessment. I'm going to teach you about masks. Last night it just wasn't working for me, so tonight I've got a couple examples to show you on creating a mask. Here I'm going to show you a couple of examples that I have for you. All right, here's one sample. I'll show it to you and then I'll show you how to create it. So this is what it will look like. In order for masks to work, you have to have, so let me first demonstrate it, then I'll show you how to create it. You have to have the layers locked. There's an animated mask. Everybody knows that the mask is like a window into something else. The mask layer is this top layer. The masked layer is this bottom layer. Okay, I'll show you how to do this one. I've got another one to show you. That one is just like a rectangle going across. That was what I was trying to do last night. I was going to start with round, but I decided to just go from small to round. All right, let me go back to did anybody else want record? Yeah, I gave it to Kim. Okay, hold on to that thought, Kendra. Let me go back. Remind me here in a second. Yeah, I'm going to post a chat. Okay, so when you start out, you want to choose this format. And what we'll do is we'll do one where the circle is going across. So the first layer here is where the content is. And so let's just put some text on this layer. Let's see. Summer is almost over. All right, so just text. And let's convert that into a symbol. It's not that important that it's a symbol, but we'll go ahead and convert it into a symbol. Okay, so now we've got one layer with content on it. It's just a word, and that word, set of words, and those are a symbol. So that's content layer. Now we add another layer. And this next layer is above that layer, and it's going to be the mask layer. And so on that layer, let's put a circle here, and we'll convert that to a symbol. I was a mistake last night, forgetting to do that. Circle. Keep the registration, that's all fine. Okay, so now we have a second layer, and we have an object on that layer, and that's a symbol on that layer, and that's the circle. Now, we want to have an animated mask, and therefore we want to extend this. So let's select these, and then insert frames. And that will just extend both of those to this frame. Okay, so now we have a layer for the mask and a layer for the content. Let's now select the layer for the mask, do a right click and change that layer to a mask layer. Mask is a property of the layer itself. And so now it creates the mask. And you might be wondering, well, what happened to the text? Well, if you unlock, you'll see it. The reason why it sets itself up, when you change it into a mask, it prepares itself for the animation. So I'm just going to, by locking these, it's now prepared for that animation to take place. So if I ran the animation right now, though, I haven't created the tween for that to go across. So let me do that. So right now, it would just sit there. And this circle would sit, and this text would sit, and you wouldn't see anything happen because the mask, it would be, this being the view into that content, would see nothing on the layer 1 because it would just sit there. And this would never be exposed because the viewfinder would not go over it. So now we need to make it animate to come over here. And so let's do that. We're going to insert a keyframe over here. And we're going to convert this into a classic tween. And scrub. And now we're scrolled down to this keyframe here. Now we can move this over to here. And maybe I should choose I thought I did a classic tween. Now let's make a motion tween. That might be what I did instead. But frankly, all right. I practiced. I paused. I promise. There we go. All right, so what I did, I selected on the last, and so I selected on the previous. And in fact, I actually want to be selected here. Well, that'll be probably good enough. I've got it. It'll go from there to there at this point, frame 25. So let's lock both of these. They both have to be locked. Press play. and add it again. There it goes. Okay, let's back up. That's a little bit confusing. I didn't do it the first time through. Okay. So here we've got F5. It's got all the frames in there. Then here I want to insert keyframe. And right here, create the motion tween. Right in here, insert another keyframe. There we go, already. And I'll move this across there. That worked that time. Now I've got it all the way over there. You can slow it down. And lock both layers. Make sure you do that. It won't work unless you do. And there we go. All right, so let's save that. Second circle. Okay, let's close that one. Now let's try the other one. This other one actually is going to be pretty cool too. Let's create this next one. This one is where it exposes that the entire thing eventually. All right, first layer, content layer. So put up there. This had better work. Let's do that. Okay, and select it. And then right click, convert to symbol, text. I don't think that's very important because that actually is not being animated. So frankly, just being an object is good enough. But let's just go on. So, and then next layer is the mask. Now, this one, we'll select right there. So this next layer is going to be a mask layer. But what we're going to do is have a bar that begins here on the left. All right. And let's convert that to a symbol because this is going to be animated. We'll convert that, and so it's important for us to be, call it a bar. It's important that we convert it to a symbol because you can only animate whatever is a symbol. So here we have the bar beginning there. Now let's make this, let's say, let's select both of these, insert a frame to just fill it all out there. Okay, so all that's out there. Now, this time, let's select the mask layer again. In fact, why don't I just name it mask just so, and then I'll call this text just so that that'll help you. Right click, convert, change that layer to a mask. Okay, and it'll make it go away, so you have to unlock it to see it again. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take this box, and remember it's the viewfinder, and we're going to animate this box to expand out revealing this content. So it'll this edge of the box will sit there, but this edge, when you go out here, will move, exposing this one at a time. Okay, all right. So so we hold down. See, in order to do that, this is going to be a shape tween up here. And this object is going to go from being that size to being large all the way across there. So let's first convert it to, well, I have to actually insert the destination frame here. So insert keyframe. Now we can, this is a symbol. Click there, insert keyframe, right click, oh man, here I go again. Back it up. I need this thing to be, to get the frames, click here, insert the blank keyframe, and then click here, select that, right click, and I'm waiting for this shape tween to be.
Hey, Chip,
Yeah,
for it to be a shape tween, doesn't it have to be a shape, not a symbol?
no, it has to be a symbol in order to be animated. That didn't work. Let's see. I'm always messing it up right there. Well, let me look at the other one I did. Okay, sweep mask. And this is it. This is the other one. I mean, this is it. There's something missing again. See, we need that. See, that's what it's supposed to be doing right there.
I was able to get mine to work as a shape tween, but I did not convert my rectangle to a shape or to a symbol. I left it as a shape.
Okay, all right. I'm going to try that. Oops, no, no, I think I got it here. Right there. Okay. Okay, so I'm back up until it's not a shape anymore. Turning down a symbol, it's still a symbol. It's not a symbol. We'll go over this here again. Let me just make sure I get these steps right. Symbol. Okay, so select that, right? Over here, I need to insert keyframe. Then Is that a symbol? I think it went to a symbol. Bar, it's still a symbol. I have to go back. Go back up. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, so that's text. Then we have the next layer. Mask. And convert that layer to mask. Then we come over here. Select them. Insert just the frame. Select the mask layer. Make the bar. When you convert it to a mask, be careful because it locks it down. So you don't need to do that and convert to a mask until later. But if it does, if you do, remember to unlock it because I still have work to do. Okay, so we've got the layer selected, and then we create the bar. Why is that? Let that one selected. Create the bar. Okay, so insert keyframe. It's not a symbol, is it? The fact that it's got that registration point turned on makes you think it's a symbol. It's not, it's just an object. Okay. Hold down the Option key. I click Transform to. Hold down the Option key. Okay. So this is going to work. Mask. Lock them both. They have to be locked. It didn't work. Oh, I haven't converted it yet to a shape tween. Yeah, that was the answer. Oh man. I thought that the other one. I thought this one was a see that's weird because this one is a symbol. In this it's weird because that one it is a symbol. And yet this one it's not a symbol. The shape tween is where the object shape tween is where the object between that the beginning and ending object is a different shape. So the beginning, for example, in this case, the beginning object is that square. The ending object of the tween is that square. So a shape tween is when the dimensions of the object change. And so this is actually a shape tween. Because the object's shape changes. The other example that we did is this one is actually a motion tween. This other one that we did. Because that object doesn't change its size. It goes from one location. It's the motion tween is where the object doesn't change its size, it just changes its location. So location 1 is here, and the final location is here. And the tween is a motion tween because the location of the object changes. So this is called a motion tween. Location changes. This one here is called a shape tween because the shape changes. That's correct, Kim. Motion is location, change, and shape tween is the size. Right. Okay, so all right. All right, so now, by the way, whenever you see a little asterisk right there, it means you need to save your file. You changed it. Remember, when it says Canvas, that means you're on the right file form, you have the right FLA file type, project native file type. If that's missing, then you accidentally chose the WFlash SWF, which requires a runtime. All right, so we got that figured out. Now let's open up this other one, which opens up on a portrait. So we'll back up here. Let me go over the parts of this. Same thing, we have an image content layer. And this one happens to be an image rather than words. So, and then we have the mask layer. And then we have just empty frames for the content. It doesn't move or anything. But we have you tell me, is this a motion tween or a shape tween? What would you guess? Yeah, it's a shape tween, correct. Okay, so now, wish me luck while I recreate it. All right, File, New, HTML5 Canvas, click OK. This canvas size, we're going to change it here in just a minute. So step one is to import the content. So we file, import the stage, and I'll choose something different. This would be like an example of a image in your self-promo. Let's just do that. Now, I want to make the stage the same size as this image. So by clicking on properties, I'll see that this image is 980 by 1000. So I want to make the stage that same size, 980 by 1000. So I'll click over here. If you click off the stage, that's the same. You're actually clicking on the properties of the document slash that involves the stage itself. The stage, by the way, is actually it's kind of like a mask, because if anything goes off the stage, you don't see it anymore. So if any objects go off stage, they go out of the view. So technically, the stage is a type. It's not a real mask as far as Flash is concerned, but it acts like a mask because it is a view into whatever animation takes place and goes across onto the stage and maybe off. So keep that in mind. All right, so I forgot what the side was, 980 by 1,000, I think. Okay, so let's change that to 980 by 1,000. Okay. All right, so if I hide that, bring it back, you can see my stage is just Andrew asked a question, can you change the frame rate for one part and speed it up at the end? My experience is that when you are working on an animation, a particular animation, a scene, will have a frame rate. So the timeline is associated with the scene, and it will have a frame rate. Now, in advanced Flash, you'll learn how to create scenes of other animations where you have animations of animations. For example, like a car. So let's say you have a car with wheels turning, and when you go into that car itself and examine it, you go into the symbol, and then you go, let's say the wheels were separate, and you go in and you make the wheels symbols, and you just have them rotate. Now, so the wheels are rotating. I wish I could show you this really quickly here, but I just want to answer your question. So the wheels are rotating, then you save that animation, and then in the outside timeline, you actually create a little movie clip of that car with just the wheels rotating, and that becomes a symbol. And within that symbol, each symbol has its own timeline. And when you go into the wheels, they have their own timeline. And so every time you discover, you get to a layer where they're, not a layer, I shouldn't have said that, I didn't mean this kind of layer, a level where it has its own timeline, you can change the frame rate. So when you are working on just the wheel, it's its own symbol because it's animated, and you can have it go at its own frame rate. Then, when you come out of that wheel symbol and then include the wheel symbol in a car, it too will have its own frame rate. Just the car itself will have its own timeline and therefore its own frame rate. Then you can take the car, include it in an outer scene, and have the car like go from left to right. And so that too is its own timeline because you're at this level. So anyways, the car will be moving across the screen. The wheels will turn at their own rate of rotation, but the frame rate can be changed at this level because you're in your own scene. How did I do on explaining that? Did that help you understand? It's let me give you an example, another really quick example. In fact, maybe I can turn on the webcam for a second. Okay, so I'm still here at work, as you can see. All right, so it's kind of like going into, let's say we go into a house, and we go into the front room, and it's like its own dimension and its own like time goes at its own rate. Then you go further into the dining room, and it's like a different time, different speed of I don't know if this is a very good example. Then you go into the back kitchen, and it's another speed. So it's the same concept with when you take animations and symbols. They, in their own realm, or when you're working on just the symbol, they are their own movie clip. And because of their own movie clip, they get to have their own timeline. And they have to be a symbol in order to be a movie clip. So the wheel is, and you'd have one instance of the wheel, and each of them are instances, and then they rotate. They'll have all the same behavior because you'll animate just the wheel. So that will be its own timeline. It's its own movie clip. Then you include those movie clip, the wheels, into the car, and because it's a new symbol that then is made up of these other symbols, it has its own movie clip and its own timeline. Then you take that whole car with the moving wheels and you bring it into your scene, and it too has its own timeline. So within the symbol, you have the ability to change the frame rate. So how did I do? Is that answering everything? Yeah, are you good? Sounds good. Okay. So frankly, you can actually make your own animation. We haven't gotten into this because it's a little bit advanced, but you can even have your storyboard be animations of animations. So. All right, well, I'm going to get back to, if I answer your question, I'm going to just get back to where we were. I'll stop the video. And so back here on the screen, where we are, we have the stage now the same size as our image. So Ken was just asked a question, and that is would that be a class for web design students? I'm quite sure that that is part of your curriculum because it's you're getting into DES 365. Does anybody have DES 365 next month? Next week, I hope to, in the second lecture, I hope to prepare you a little bit for that class. All right. Well, we imported the image, and so that's layer one. We'll call this, let's say we'll just call this one image. Create another layer, call this one mask. I'm going to wait to convert it into a mask. Okay, come out here, got to get it to be on the stage. So select those, insert frame. So click on the mask layer. And now I think I'll, okay, let's create, select right there. I'm going to create an oval. And let's put it like right here. Remember, this is our mask. Then I'm going to come out here. I'm going to insert a keyframe because I need to have it be different here. I'm going to use this transformation tool, select it. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm just going to do this. Hold down the Shift key. There we go. Okay, so now all goes well. That's properly done. Select this layer, right click, create the shape tween. Now this is going to work the first time. How about that? About time. Okay. We can go over this again if you want to, but I'm just really happy it worked the first time. Okay, next we convert this into a mask. the mask layer, and it locked both layers. So now let's click play, and there we go. Oh, by the way, the teacher is going to be Corey Evans, and she loves to code by hand. So it's going to be really, really, really interesting. She likes to code. You know how, remember how we do, let's publish this. I want to show you what I mean when I say that. Publish settings. This one is circle. Click save, click publish. So that just, what did that just create? Everybody answer. If you don't know, just put a question mark. What just happened? I clicked publish. What just happened? Everyone, if you don't know, just put a question mark. Good, Kim. Good, good, good. Yeah, very good. See that it creates an images folder. Yeah. So when I say publish by work by hand, what I mean is she's not even she's not a fan of Adobe Flash, and I don't criticize her because frankly she's really good, really, really good, and so she'll take you from the ground up, and so she would use so this one did we just do this one? Yeah. So she doesn't use Adobe Dreamweaver. I'm pretty sure she uses Sublime Text for her editor. So what I expect is that when those of you who are in that next class, that you will just type this out. So right in this class, we have Adobe Flash creating it automatically, but in your next class, I expect that she'll have you type all this. So later today, I'm going to talk a little bit about this code. This is what she likes to do. All right, so back to our Flash. So you create your mask, you create this first object, and then insert a keyframe and shape it, and then convert it to a shape tween. Okay, so now it's, so we got that. Oh, there's one more tween that I want to try to do, and it's a little bit different. So this one is like the one we just did, but it's going to have two shape tweens in it, not just one. So let's try it. Layer number one. image. Then insert, import the stage. We'll import something different this time. Click on that, 1137 by 710. Click on this, 37. The memory is 710. Save. 710. Okay, so 1137 by 710. And we got that. Then a new one here. And we'll call this mask. I had a problem spelling mask. Let's come over here, select these two here, frames, and insert frames, fill that out. Do that again. I don't think I had it selected. It's like I'm doing something to create. All I want to do is select these two. Oh, I know. It's because I'm letting go. Okay, Control key. And see. That's held down Control key. Insert frame. Click on the mask layer, and then about halfway through, let's see, right over here, let's insert a blank keyframe. All that does is clears the slate of anything there. And then here, let's say right around halfway through, 20, insert a keyframe. Okay, so here, let's select here, and I'm going to bring this out a little bit. Okay, so what's going to take place is we're going to have two shape tweens here. The first shape tween will be a circle, and the last shape tween will be a square. So, okay, so here we're on this frame. Let's create a circle here. Hold down the Shift key. Okay. All right. Not converting it to a symbol. Move the scrub over to here. Actually, I think I changed my mind. I actually want it to be here in the center on frame one. So click on frame one, make a circle right in the middle. Next, we'll scrub over here. When it hits frame 19, we'll move down here. And got to add keyframe. right click, create motion tween. Oh, now this is going to be, we do need to make this a symbol. So I can't explain why. I am under the belief that if anything is tweened, it's got to be a symbol. So, but I saw what you saw, that on that second example on the sweep. On my one example, it was a symbol, but on the other one that we did, it wasn't. So right now, on the motion tween, I do convert it to a symbol. Okay, circle. So right click, create motion tween. Then I move over here, and I'm going to frame 19. I'm going to grab this, come down here. Okay, so as you can see, the first animation will go down to there. First animation. Now, now over here, I want to click here and insert a keyframe. And now I want it to do a full square right over the entire image. Right click and go back to that. Right click, convert to symbol. Right click. It's off by one. Forward. Okay, so on this frame, it could be a square. Square. And I'll put that to a symbol. And let's go over here. Right click, create. No. See, I need it to be a shape tween. So then I'm not able to get this done. Oop. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's take a break. I'll just keep it going here while let's take a 10-minute break, and hopefully yours truly will have this thing figured out. I should have. I was working on this before class. Let's see, circle to square. That's there. We have a circle in the middle. Okay. The circle in the middle. Convert it to a symbol. Okay. Right click. Let's see, choose a frame, insert keyframe. Right click, motion to there we got a blank keyframe right there. Draw this thing around the full thing. Okay, so move. Right.
Jeff, did we start break yet?
Yeah, sorry, I should have.
All right.
Yep. We are on break in about 4 minutes. Come back in about 6 minutes. Sorry, I should type that. Yeah, okay. Sorry. I actually started it 4 minutes ago, and when I was trying to figure this out. But just to be fair, go and come back uh, by 8:10. That will give us 13 minutes. 7:10 if you're in Central Time. Insert. This is a new feature in Adobe Flash CC. For easy. Well, I think Well, it's 8:10. I didn't figure it out. The goal was to it's actually show you. You can actually look this one up and Adobe Flash CC mask. It goes really fast. And this is the one that I'm trying to make it like. Let's show it to you. But it's going really fast. Oh, good, David. That's a key for you. Use the shape. Sign. That's what I tried to do. David, did you get this to work? I really like this one and tried to figure it out. There's the link. So I typed in Adobe Flash CC mask in Google and I clicked the first one. David, I'm really curious to see yours. Would you mind sharing? Oh, yeah. You have a motion tree that goes from right to left, and then see his is he actually creates a shape tween, and then the shape tween that's a simple tween there in our classic tween. No, it's a simple the one on the right, the rectangle. Pretty sure that's yeah, it's a shape tween, that one there. It's a motion tween. Anyway, it's good. Yeah, if you want to, I'll tell you what. I will give extra credit to anyone who does that one. That now it's a little bit different than how you did it, David. And the one that I'm talking about is, let's see. Let me see here. Stop share. Share screen. If you can get it to do 2 shape tweens where it does that special. And it goes and so it's a shape tween down, kind of morphs over that. So we'll have that for extra credit. So how many points do we give for extra credit? Probably 20 points. In addition to, I hope I can give extra credit. I think that's fine. We have extra credit in our other checkpoints. Okay, now let's now talk about. Oh, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, extra credit if you can do what this one does, where it's a shape tween down and then it morphs up. See, the way David was doing was a little bit different. He didn't realize that I was trying to do it like this one. Yeah, let's start on the assessment. Okay, so for the assessment, what I want you to do is to use a mask, and you can actually use any of the examples that we did. Create a mask. So you can do this animation. You can do this animation, or you can do this other one we did. Or you can do that third one. Or frankly, if you can do that other one, we'll give you 20 extra points. So once you've done your mask, then what I want you to do is to publish it. Okay, and the files that you publish, plus the FLA file. Remember, it may have an images folder, so make sure you include that. Portrait. See, what's interesting is it's got its images folder, but it's actually got both of them in it because it put the other one in there. So don't be confused by that. So open on Portrait. So you want to submit the FLA file for whichever one you do, HTML and JavaScript. And then make sure you include the images folder. So you would select all 4 of those. And do right click. Oops. Right click and compress 4 items and just submit the archive zip file. Kim, are you good? Is your question answered, Kim? Okay. So you get all that. Now, just like we did last week, this week I want you to open up the HTML file in Dreamweaver. As you can see, I've got both CS6, 2014 and 2015 installed. All right. All right. Let me see. I don't even know how to pause that. It's going to be a little, I know what I'm doing. It's in code mode. There we go. Go ahead, Andrew. Kim, I'm going to stay up tonight here at work until I got all the grading turned back. Yeah, I'm going to stay here at work tonight. Last night, my daughter came home from study abroad and kind of took over the evening. After I got home, she got home like 11:30 last night, and we stayed up till 5 a.m. talking to her. She's been gone all summer, and she was showing us pictures. So it got a little bit in the way of my plans for the evening. After we tried to get everything done beforehand, but before class wasn't able to. Okay, so you submit that archive zip file. You probably already saw that. That file is what you submit. And in the submission, just like you did last week, I want you to pull some code into it. So I thought that was a pretty good exercise for people to find the code. It's kind of like pin the tail on the donkey, locate the code. See, you need to be in student view to see the submit button. And when you go to submit, you choose a file, and then you choose your file. Zip file. Yeah. And then here in the comments, I'll show you what I want you to add. Yeah. So, no, three versions. So I'll open up the HTML file. And this one's going to be a little bit different than the one last week, because last week we didn't have any specific animation. Yeah. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to find the line of HTML code that calls the JavaScript function. And in this example, it's line 43. And the JavaScript function is called init. So this is the HTML file. And from here to here, that's all JavaScript right there. This is back to HTML right here. When you embed JavaScript in the HTML file, it needs to be put in the script tag. So what I want you to do is copy the line where the function call is to the JavaScript. So what happens, just so you understand, is when the browser loads this web page, so basically the event is called onload, it says, call this function. Something I want you to understand a little bit about JavaScript and HTML. HTML is where you hard code the coding. JavaScript actually has the ability to, on the fly, make changes to the values that might be in your HTML right in the browser. So that's the value of JavaScript. It dynamically can change some of the settings of your HTML and still until basically it tells the browser to display it. In fact, while I'm on it, this is going to get a little complex, but it's important that you understand it, I think. When you open up your HTML, let me ask you a quick question. Are we using the Flash runtime for this animation, yes or no? Okay. What's a way I can tell, if I'm just on a web page, what's a quick way that I can tell whether or not this is using Flash or not? Quick way is to right click, and if it doesn't say about Flash Player, you'll know you're not on a site. Okay, so I'm in Google Chrome. So right click and choose Inspect Element. Now, I did not choose, well, I did not do right click. This whole stage is taken up by the image, and so when I do a right click, it's just thinking it's just got save image as. But over here, if I do a right click, I'm outside the stage and I can do view page source. And so this, do you recognize this? Do you see? Do you recognize that? It's the same, we're looking at the same code. What we're looking at in Dreamweaver is the same code that we look at when we do a view source in the browser. And so back to, so this is, if I do a right click over here off the stage and I do view page source, it's going to be just like, it's going to be just like it being in code view of Dreamweaver. These are identical. These see the exact same thing. The thing about Dreamweaver, oh, let me ask you this. Which one of these can I edit? Can I start editing this one right here? Make changes? The answer is not if it's going through a browser. If it's going through a browser, this is not an editor. This is just for view only. But over here, Dreamweaver, it's different. Dreamweaver actually is a program that does allow you to make changes. And so, back to this, come back to here, do right click and inspect element. What this is a command that Google browser lets you do. Inspect element. This lets you get into a more dynamic method of viewing the source. View source in this other one only displayed HTML, but if you do right click inspect element, you have access here to a collapsed view of the HTML. So it's the same code right here, but it's collapsed. See, this little triangle is pointing to the right, which means this is the head tag, and if we click there, we open it up. And here we have script tag. See this right in here, the script tag, it's that one right there. And then it's got the ... which is all this content right here. And then see that script tag? That's that one there. So if I click here, I can open that up. So you can see it's like view source. Remember how I told you that JavaScript can change properties on the fly? If you do an inspect element, background color. See, there's no background because it's all. So you can experiment in here. See, I said with the browser, only with HTML source, when you do view source, you can't change it. But if you go into inspect element, you can. There you go. You did something. So it's kind of fun to play with it. It's almost like you got Dreamweaver going on here. But I don't think you can save them. Anyways, so back to this here. If you click here, HTML, it brings you up to this level. By the way, if you click on in here, it highlights different sections of the code. So HTML, and within the head tag, and within the script tag, you use text. This kind of gives you a constant updated view of where you are. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a side there. Just wanted to show you what you can do in the browser. This is for analyzing your network connection. Even got its own timeline associated. Because now HTML5 has its own concept of timeline, then the browser has to keep track of that. Resources, local storage, session storage, cookies. It's console, back to the elements. And then come over here. Does anybody have any idea what this is? Yeah, the show source just views HTML, but this inspect element gets into this. It's like a debugger. Yes, Phil, that is CSS. Very good. These event listeners are for interactivity. Yeah, you should have learned that in your DES 241 class and ES 241 and APP 242. Learned about CSS. That's the CSS doesn't show up here. They don't even reference it. And I think this is built in, or maybe what's going on here is they dynamically oh, see here we got the style. There's CSS instruction right here. Okay, so back to the assessment. I want you to copy the line that has the call to the, this is a call to the JavaScript. Basically what it does is the browser takes over and then runs this code in here. I'm not going to explain to you what it does. The document. And then these are other function calls, and these are called parameters. And then handle file load event. That right there. We'll learn this in the next class, the advanced Adobe Flash class. We'll learn about event listeners and how to set them up. Where you can see what an event listener is something. In fact, a second ago, I think we saw it on the screen here. See these event listeners here. We've got an event listener here for file load and an event listener for complete. These are event listeners, but it looks like a different thing than these two here. If the file load occurs, then this is called. If the handle complete is done, then this function is called. Anyways, just include that line when you submit, so you copy that. And here, paste that. Then I want you to go into the JavaScript again. And this is the JavaScript that this is JavaScript that's inside the file, but this is for the JavaScript that's outside your file. This is an external file. You can click on it here because this tells the browser, I've got another file called OpenIslandPortrait.js, and that's why the Dreamweaver editor shows it right here, because it's referenced. And I'd be curious, does anybody know where these files are located? This is for the web development people. What's the name of the website? Yeah, Kendra, just include the line with the onload statement. Does that answer your question? That's all. This whole line. Yeah, I'll tell you here in the JavaScript 1 second. Yeah, the website is createjs.com, specifically the server code.createjs.com. Very good. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go over to the JavaScript file. And this is the one that's external to your HTML file. All right. And this here is the tween. See, what happened is that the animation that takes place, it's translated into a lot of calls. This is move, move, wait, move, wait, move, wait, move, wait, wait, move, wait. You see? So let's have you include the code that shows the tween and the movement. So you can see add the tween, and then graphics at 194, 296, and then if I put 1, and then if I put 2, it's moving like a pixel at a time. This here is the tween. This is the mask tween. That's how it's done. I mean, that's how the JavaScript is doing it. So scroll down to where you find the line that starts with this.timeline.addTween, and then copy this, this is the real guts of the animation right there. And it's done in JavaScript. And do a right click and copy that, and then add that to your submission underneath the line. I think I remember saying something like, the call to JavaScript is here. The JavaScript code for the tween is here. And then paste that. That way you'll get into kind of understanding, well, at least I'm not asking you to understand this, I'm just asking you to find it. And that's where the tween takes place. And then just click Submit Assignment. All right. And that's the assessment. Now give me a second. All right, I'm going to start answering all the questions. So you want it in a Word document? No, I haven't done a Word document here. I mean, you can copy and paste that into a Word document. All I was doing is putting it right here in the comments. So, all right. Give me a second while I read everybody's text. Okay. Kendra says, can you share for a second? Yeah, give me 1 second, Kendra, and let me answer all the questions. Okay, Kim asked the question, can you demonstrate how to animate an image like we need to do for this week's assignment? Sure. And Kim, it's a mask. So the assignment is to do a mask, and you can do any of the ones that I have done. Text or image or the extra credit for 20 additional points. Oh yeah, sure. We didn't get to that on Monday night, did we? We just did text. Is that correct? Okay, that's what you want to do. I was confused. Okay, give me a second. I scroll up. Okay, Kendra, you said that's the stage settings, how wide, large, and what is it uses for the coding. If you could oh, that was the answer to a question. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, let's, so that's the assessment. Do a mask and then copy and paste the line that calls the, copy and paste the line that calls the JavaScript function, and then copy and paste the line that is the tween that is in the JavaScript. Correct, Andrew. So, and then you can type in there, this is the call to the JavaScript function, and this is the call to the, oh no, this is the tween in JavaScript code. All right, any more questions on the assessment? Good. Anyone? All right. I'm going to exit out of Dreamweaver. And you know, you could edit it. You could edit that HTML file with anything. You don't have to use Dreamweaver, but I like it. Okay, let's get back to this. Oh yes, I need to. You mean to explain the objectives here? Like, you want me to update that? You bet. I'll do that. I did last week. Yeah, you bet. I'll put them right in there. Now, now we're going to go back to the assignment here, and we're going to focus on right here. Any animated text and graphics you need to draw and photos play should be pretty much done. Okay, so we did animated text on Monday night. Now let's do animated graphics. So new, HTML5 canvas, file, import to stage, image, see, 1024 by 768. That's a good size. Click here, 1024 by 768. Okay, so select. Now, let's come here to a frame. Click insert frame to fill that out. And then what I want to do, insert frame, got the insert frame, fill it out. Insert on the blank keyframe there, so that will clear it. Come back here to frame 1. And we're going to animate this, so I'm going to do a right click and convert it to a symbol. And here, I'm going to change this color effect to alpha. Right click, create classic tween. Insert keyframe. And right now we've got the frame selected. And still got the frame selected. Now I clicked here, and now I've got the object selected, but it's turned off. So scroll to here. Let me do that again. No, I scrolled to there, but because my cursor clicked on this, it then thought I was wanting to focus on that. So I had to re-click on the image. And so now I have alpha. And now I'm going to change it to 100. Now I'm going to cross my fingers and see if it works. Forget about the empty keyframe. This is that keyframe. That was the empty one. So you want me to go through that again? File, close all. Where's the screen? Close. So file, new. Okay. File, import to stage. $1133, $734. Okay. Okay, click here on some number. and then insert frame. Now it would just sit there. So let's come back here to frame 1. See, I'm selected on the frame, but I actually want to be selected on this because I want to make it a symbol. And once I've done that, then it gives me the options of changing the color effect. I'm going to turn it off. And scrub over here. Right click, make classic tween. Insert keyframe. And see, we're selected a frame. We don't want that. We want to be selected on the object itself. So I just clicked on it. Can't see it because that alpha transparency in the timeline thinks it's supposed to keep it blank. But actually, we want it to be fully turned on. So, in the beginning, start that, and there you go. Let's see if I can turn it off. Insert frame. Insert keyframe. Click on the thing. Turn it off. Now it should be off, on, off. Off, on, off. On, off. There you go. Okay, let me read the notes or the questions here. All right, I'm scrolling up this time. Okay, would this be the same even with multiple layers? Well, you can see the animations is taking place on a layer. So yeah, it would be the same. You just would have it go off, on, off, and then a new layer and a new image. So change it to a symbol. Okay, so now it's, and I'll make it off. Then at about 120, insert a keyframe. Here, click on it, and turn it on. And then here, insert a keyframe. Click it, and turn it off. So let's see how we do. Off, on, off. Ah, oh, I forgot to change it to, I think I forgot to change it to classic tweens. Sorry about that. Off, on, off, off, on, off. There we go. So, Kim, does that answer your question about multiple layers? You know, I've got multiple layers here. Good. Andrew asked the question, can this all be done using the same timeline the image sets on now? I think I understand your question. Did what I show you answer the question, Drew? Okay, good. Okay, Kendra asked the question, if you have your FLA for week 2 where you place and timed out the images, yes, you can use that to create this week's animation. That was the purpose of timing everything out and placing it in DESUNE. DESUNE. What does that stand for? Oh, yeah. Yes, Kim. Let's try a motion tweak. Let's create one more. So over here, insert. So I can just do a keyframe right there. And what we do, zoom out. Insert, import the stage. So So 160 plus, say 240. 160 plus 40 to 200. So insert keyframe right there. Convert it to a classic tween. And let's see, yeah, classic tween. So right there, and let's see. I got this. I want to do a motion tween. Oh, I forgot to my nemesis. Forgetting to convert it to a symbol. Image. too. That's there. Everything there. Motion tween. Insert keyframe. So I think we can even do both. I think you can do two at the same time. Kind of cool. So we got the there gone, there gone. And watch this one. We have two things going on. Both the motion tween and also the alpha. Both of those were happening. So that's kind of cool. We can do both. I like that. All right, it is time for us to call it a night. And Kim, did I answer your question? Kim, to answer your question, a keyframe, the reason why it's key is that it represents a final state. And, or I shouldn't say final state, a state. So here you have a keyframe with an object that's in a certain state. You don't have any keyframes along here because it's not a final state, or it's not a state. But here you can see that little diamond there. That's a keyframe, and we put our image or our text, whatever, here in that state. And so every time, and all these frames between these are actually automatically calculated, computed by Adobe Flash. That's called the tween. So you don't have keyframes in there. It's all calculated by Adobe Flash. That's a keyframe there, and that's a keyframe there. And I just started off by creating just frames, and the black means there's something in this frame. Somebody manually put something in this frame. And then this is black, and that means somebody manually put something here. All the rest, nobody manually. I could insert right here. I could insert a keyframe and introduce introduce maybe a different type of thing. So basically that little black diamond is there. It's a keyframe because something's going to happen right on that frame. And I mean, that's the state it needs to be in. So I'm using a period. It's going to get dark because it's got to get ready for that state right there. And because I've told it not to worry about changing, it keeps that state. Yeah, go ahead, Kendra, you can share. Kendra has been bad. The frame is to fill it out, just to keep the stage, the time going. The keyframe is if you're going to specify something on that frame manually. Oh, Kendra, did you share your screen? I think you can share. You can turn on your microphone if you want. Oh, there you go. Way to go, Idaho. I like it. Oh, wait a minute, do it again. Yeah. Good job. I tried to get that ready before class and I just ran out of time. I like that a lot. Yes, Kim, in week 1 when we did a cut frame, it created a keyframe because you're saying, hey, stop right here, the previous thing, but then it actually puts a copy of what it was in the next frame. That's why when you do a cut frame, it's as if you had inserted a keyframe right there with something on it. Okay, I don't have anything more, except I just need to finish up the grading. And thanks for coming tonight. Again, my apologies to make it come a second night. Does everybody have their questions answered? Good job, David. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, sorry about this third night. That recording, when I double clicked it to convert, it totally lost the first session of our recording last night. Be careful, Drew. Sure, Kendra. Yeah, that's smart, Kim. You know, when I opened up Mozilla Firefox, that's when it's just something went wrong and everything froze. Okay, have a good evening. Kendra, can you unmute yourself or share? Either one.
Yeah, I can do both.
Okay. Show me what you got.
Okay.
Okay, take care, Kim. Phil, I'm jealous. Nice. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Nice.
What I was thinking about with the table thing, because you're right, with the placement, it does tend to jump a little bit. I tried to change it a little bit so it was closer right there.
Yep.
But what I was thinking about is if I was able to take, say, like these transition frames here, and take this table and just enlarge it so that it was like it was zooming in on the table.
Smart.
Because the next frame is the laptop and the mouse hand. So since you have the mouse and the laptop, and that actually, the laptop there is actually the website.
Oh, yeah.
But if I was able to make it so that it looked like this table was zooming in, I'd be able to just animate this, and then this transition would be the table scooting over to the sketch pad, and then this would be the table scooting back over to the right here. This one would be the table scooting back over to the laptop, and then zooming out a little bit to pick up me. And then obviously there's no transition here. But this one would be zooming back into the laptop. And then these would just be, I'd have to insert the table and maybe make it a little bit larger of the laptop instead of just the screen. But yeah, you can see that there's like a ton of frames and stuff. And if I were to do that with the table, it would take out some of those frames.
So, so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I wonder if the table could exist on one layer throughout the entire animation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But so I'm thinking about the transitions from one slide to the next, and frankly, it's not necessary to make the table all for the animation to just all have the same instance, same object, be throughout on the same layer. So because jumping in on a different frame shot or viewpoint is really fine. What about the way it's being done right now? What are your criticisms? If you were to summarize what your criticisms are for your table, how would you say that?
Well, it is a lot like what you said, where the table isn't in the same spot. I mean, here it's fine because you're zooming, it's like you're zooming from where you can see the laptop with the hand closer to the table so that you can see the drawing. This is probably my favorite animation in the entire thing right here.
Yeah, same here. That was so smart how you did that. Oh.
That one was like the motion tween where I animated the pencil, and then a classic tween where I did an alpha channel for the sketch.
Yeah, very smart.
And then, you're zooming out again from the table to here where you're looking at the logo, and zooming out again from the table. And here, I got it fixed some. I mean, it still jumps a little bit. But that's mostly not the table anymore.
I'm thinking about the movement of objects from one scene to the next, the transitions.
This here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even thinking about from one scene to the next that at least one of the objects stays consistent or moves, or either a shape tween or a motion tween from the previous scene, whereas the other things could be just dropped in, and so just the general principle of from one scene to the next, that just one thing is either moving or shape is changing, just to provide some consistency. But as I describe it to you, I'm not sure how well that would even work. Having one thing consistent throughout the entire movie is another principle of animation that might apply here. So I think what you're saying is the different views of the table are somewhat just confusing to the viewer. The table is coming. You're having so many viewpoints of the table, and that's the thing you're trying to eliminate. Am I understanding?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how you could eliminate that because it has to be sitting on something. And it was...
Well, no, the point I was saying is the problem with your animation that you're trying to resolve is not eliminating the table, but I meant to say you're trying to resolve the problem of one object in the jumping around in the slides from one scene to the next.
Well, isn't that what you were saying in your comment?
Yeah, that was my concern. Go ahead and run it again. Even slowing it down might even be a little bit of a solution.
Yeah, I took it from 24 down to 12 already.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find a way to make the transitions more smooth, because right now, with the way it is, it just kind of flashes at you like...
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the flash is. Scrub back and let's find, and then use a period or a comma to locate the one frame where it appears to be flashing.
Oh, I know what it is. It's this. I inserted 5 frames between each animation to make a transition area.
Oh, okay. So the transition, let's talk about that. So you could, what are the transitions that you're thinking? What kind of ideas do you have?
Well, like I said, instead of having like the blank screen between, like here, the transition would be where the table and everything on it zooms in, so that you're zooming in on the computer, so that the next frame you're here, and it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then from here, the table moves over, because here you can see that next to the laptop is the sketch pad. So for here, you move over from the laptop to the sketch pad. And then here you move back from the sketch pad to the laptop.
Gotcha. So it could be a zoom in.
And then from
Okay,
here, you
or
zoom out a little bit so that you end up with the laptop a little bit further away and the person. And again, here you would zoom in from the person and the table back to the laptop and the table.
So let's look at the very first transition that takes place. Those. So there's no objects there. All right, so let me see how you're wanting to do a zoom in on that scene, or in on the.
If I do this, you can see the difference.
I'm trying to see what a good transition will be.
And see, Drew, I don't know if it would be a motion tween or if it would be a shape tween, because it would be all those items.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to sort out. What kind of, give me a second.
But it's the camera that's moving, not the things.
Right.
And the other thing is, since they're not shapes, can you even do a shape tween? Because they're all symbols.
I'm looking at a pretty good video. I'm going to paste the link that I think will be really good. I think watch this video here, and did I get it? Here's a YouTube video that I think will be really good for you to look at. It's pan and zoom effects.
Okay. I don't know if you can, Drew. I was looking at that. I mean, putting it all on the same layer makes it into a group, but actually grouping the items themselves, it's like I tried to take like these items here and turn them into a group so that each object was a little bit easier to work with. Each group of objects was easier to work with. But actually having them on the same layer, this right here is a group.
I'm not able to hit enter.
What did you do to search for it?
If you search for flash, pan, and zoom effects. Yeah, that one's a really good one. That
2 years ago, was that using, looks like it's using CS6.
well, let's go ahead and look at that because I think some of the principles will be the same.
Most movies and TV shows nowadays, and even cartoons, they make use of camera effects. And those camera effects a lot of times take the form of zooming in or zooming out on the movie or image or whatever it is, or panning across. And we're going to zoom and pan in this video and kind of talk about how you do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this scene right here, which has some trees, a path, light posts and stuff, and I'm going to put in a butterfly animation. But what I want to do is kind of pan on this scene and zoom in on the butterflies and do some interesting things like that would kind of be considered camera effects. So first of all, let's just think about how we might get these butterflies into this scene. I'm going to add a new layer. I'll call the new layer butterflies. And I'm going to go to my other project right here, which has the animated butterfly. I'm just going to take one of these animated butterfly symbols, right-click, copy it, go to the other project, and let's paste it in right here. So if I just play this scene right now, what does it look like? Well, I've got my little butterfly flying around, and that's kind of cool. Let me move the position of it so it stays on the screen a little longer. But the point is, the camera's not moving, right? This is just a still shot. The camera's not moving around at all. So it'd be kind of cool if I could zoom in on somewhere here, or pan, or something a little more interesting. So let's see if I can do that. Well, what I'm going to need to do to make that happen is have all of this stuff, instead of being on the main timeline, notice we're in scene 1 right here, is actually put everything in a symbol. So I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go to new symbol, and I'll call this, let's see, I'll call this pan example. I'll call this panning scene, panning scene. Okay, so panning scene is an empty movie clip right now. I'm going to go back to scene 1, highlight all of this stuff right here. Click, drag the highlight, right click, and I'm going to copy frames, and I'm going to go into that panning scene and paste the frames. So right click, paste frames, and there we go. We've got all of that copied into the panning scene. So now something got shifted. That link got shifted. I'm not sure if anything else got shifted. Not sure why that link got shifted. Just move that back. Oh, the link got shifted and made way bigger. So let's see if I can fix that real quick. That shouldn't have happened. I'm not sure why that happened. Oh, you know what? It's because it's got a 3D transform applied to it. Sometimes weird stuff happens with the 3D transform. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to take out the lake for now, just because I don't want to mess with the 3D transform stuff that was happening with it. And right now we've got a movie clip called Panning Scene. I'm going to go back to scene 1. Notice we're in scene 1 now, instead of in panning scene. And I'm going to delete all this stuff off of here. So highlight, I'm having trouble highlighting all this stuff. Right click, remove frames. Let me just delete a couple of these layers too that I don't need. And let's add in 1 frame back to that layer right there, and drag out this panning scene. Okay, so right now, zooming out on this, there's my panning scene. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Hold Shift to keep it proportional. And notice there's my stage. So I'll have it maybe start here. I'm going to right click and add a motion tween. And I'll make that kind of a long motion tween, and I'll have it just kind of pan across to this side. Okay, so notice that this, as I scrub my playhead, that scene is just moving. This is going to give a panning effect to the shot. Let me just see what that looks like. Okay, interesting. We can see that little panning effect. Now you'll notice the butterfly, this pan is kind of restarting itself, but the butterfly just kind of keeps flying. It doesn't restart itself. So I'll be talking about how we can insert a little action script code later on. For right now, what might be the easiest thing to do is just make the two.
Did you hear him say action script code?
How long the butterfly animation is.
Well, if you notice, he's exporting everything as SWF.
Looks like that is exactly 100 frames. So why not just go back to scene 1 and make this 100 frames as well? That way they'll perfectly match up. Okay. And if I play it now, that butterfly should stop and restart exactly when the scene restarts. And that's not a big deal for now. I just realized that's what's happening. So you'll notice that as that kind of moved to the side, it got that bottom part cut off. Let me just see if I can fix that by not having it move up at the end. There we go. Let's see if that fixed. Looks a little better. Yeah, that looks a little better. Now, I could also do other things. Like I could have it, instead of just panning like that, it could also zoom out. So let's say it also zooms out a little bit. So I'm going to hold Shift and just kind of make everything a little bit smaller size. Okay, so that's actually going to give a zooming out effect because it started out showing less of the scene, and now at the end it's going to show more of the scene. So that's going to make a zooming out effect. So it's zooming out and panning a little bit. Okay, I could, instead of doing that, I could zoom in really far. So let me go, and pay attention to the playhead. It's at frame 100 right now. So let me, instead of making that smaller, actually make it bigger. And just kind of guess right about there. Kind of zoom in on the light post. Make it bigger. Zoom in on the light post, and hopefully that catches a little bit of the butterfly as well. Okay, so that was kind of a cool effect. We got a little bit of a pan, a little bit of a zoom, and we're catching that butterfly kind of flying across the screen like that.
Okay.
What do you think? You think that'll give you some ideas?
It might, as long as it works the same in, CC14.
Oh, yeah.
If it works the same in CC14, then I could just, it'll start there, and then I could just add some more frames in here and make it bigger.
Yeah, it was interesting how we made a copy of everything, and then did he group them all and then convert them to a symbol, and then
He created a movie clip symbol that was all of them together.
yeah, and so then at the beginning it's one size, and then at the ending it's a different, whether it's zoom out, zoom in, or it's a movement. So I think, did you say that you already grouped all your things? That's how
it's all on the same layer, and if it's on the same layer, it's technically grouped.
Well, no, there's a special way of grouping. Go ahead and select all the things that you might want to group.
Yeah.
Oh, well, click the selection tool. Far right there. And now select everything, including your picture. Just make a big square on. You should be able to just, oops. Did that work? Okay. Now do a right click.
Even though it's all on separate layers?
Let's see if those things, are they being animated?
This one will be, once I'm able to do the bones.
Go ahead and try a right click right now, and let's see. Let's see. What's under arrange?
What's what?
The arrange. Go down to arrange. I don't think that's
Let's
a.
bring it forward and send it back.
Trying to group. Let me see. Hold on.
Would converting it all to symbol?
I think the way he did it is he did an arrange.
Well, he converted it all to symbol. He had everything selected, copied it, and pasted it into a new symbol.
Let's see here. Okay, so if you hit a Command G, select them all and do Command G.
All right. So, do that. Select them all. Command G. Okay. You're now grouped into something. Probably the shrug instead of the intro.
And so,
I don't know. It grouped all of these, but didn't group these two together.
is that
they're
because
on
they
separate
weren't selected?
No, it was selected. It was on a different timeline, though. It's on a different layer.
Oh,
So
that
it
might
grouped
be the
everything that was
problem.
on the same layer. But I created a symbol like he did in his. That's everything. And then what he did was he created a what? Motion tween or a classic tween?
I think it was classic tween. But and so what it, and then he took the group and copied and pasted, and then did play around with the size or the pan, the location. Kind of simulated that camera effect. Do you want to play with this a little bit and see if you make any progress?
Well, that works.
Yeah, it's really cool how he did it. It really makes you feel like it's a camera pan or a camera zoom. Very smart, and it's funny how effective it is.
Yeah. So that works for the beginning. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Jumps over a little bit, but I could probably fix that. I So the problem is inserting that hand in there. Because if I take this table here and use it for everything, which I could do, it's the hand on the mouse that would be the difficult thing to insert into it, since it has the mouse. Don't you think?
Are we doing a pan or a zoom at this point to get to this transition?
I'm doing a zoom. Yeah, see. See, I'd want the animation to stop here. Because I want it to stop zooming and panning right here.
Okay.
So I guess what I would do then is right here, insert another instance of it.
It is, that's a good way of referring to it as an instance, but before it existed, let's see, when you select it and grouped, that they all become together relative to each other, the way they're situated, and then when you make it a symbol, then then that grouping becomes the thing that is now taking over for those items. It's they're all connected together. It's kind of like the car. The car could be a group of the wheels and selected the body and so on. And when grouped together, then obviously they can be animated together. Same thing here. When you've grouped all those different objects, they can be animated separately. But I forget what your original question was about that. Oh yeah, instance. So the instance, are there different instances? You can animate the one instance rather than thinking of it separately.
I mean, in order to get the animation there to stop, so I want it to stop zooming there, and then it'll go to here, but I want this table to be the same as this table.
So you're, they are separate scenes right now.
Well, yeah, they are, and they would remain separate scenes because there's things that have to be animated and added to each in order to have it do the correct thing. Like here, there's no hand on the mouse. Here, we have to have the hand on the mouse because the hand on the mouse is what moves it.
Yeah. In his example, I think he got copies of all the objects and then he pasted them and he grouped them and then he began applying the operations for the grouping, animations for the grouping and the panning and zooming.
Yeah, but he only had one scene that he was working with. He didn't have like different areas of the same scene, you know? So like from here, we zoomed in on the laptop, which is, you know, awesome. It works.
Would you, what time is it where you are?
Well, almost 9.
All right. So, would you like to schedule some time tomorrow? It's 10 o'clock here, and I got to finish up the grading and go home. And I was going to try to get that done before I went home tonight. Would you like to schedule some time tomorrow to work on this?
Yeah, we could either do it in Zoom or we can do it through Skype. Up to you.
Okay. I'm at work from 8 to 5, but I can carry on kind of a limited conversation through Skype during the day.
I am at work an odd schedule tomorrow. Hold on. Let me find out what that is. 8 to 4:30 my time.
You're in California or something?
No, Oregon.
Okay. Yeah, that panning and zooming is really an intriguing
Yeah, that worked really well, and that's what I wanted. In fact, it was horrible. I couldn't go to sleep the other night because I just kept thinking about how this is how I wanted it to be and how I couldn't figure out how to do it. And so I was up for like 3 hours, and then I finally fell asleep.
Huh. Interesting. No, I think it's really looking good. The animation of that pan and zoom, the zoom that you just did, it actually looks good. And frankly, his looked good too, and I don't think his was perfect.
Yeah.
It's really amazing how quickly you can simulate a zoom or
Yeah.
a pan.
And I really like the fact that that is an actual capability for the program.
Yeah, it gives you the feeling like you are dealing with a camera viewpoint.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to zoom in past me because it looks so much better than what I had.
Yeah, it's going to go a long way in helping smooth out those transitions.
Yeah, and now I just need to figure out how to get it so that this transition here moves over from the laptop. So in other words, it'll zoom over, but it has to be the same instance of the table as this because it already has everything on it. You know?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I have to get my stuff together because I have to get up at 5, so.
Okay, good. Yeah, same here.
Yes. Thank you.
You bet. All right, so hit me on Skype tomorrow and let's see how we're doing.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
And Kim, mine is just overly complicated because that's just how I roll. It's my way of the ninja, I guess. I tend to make things a lot more complicated for myself than they have to be. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
You too.